Hey, and thanks for coming back to the channel. Today we're going to read a few stories from Reddit, so you won't get bored while working or falling asleep. And so, story number 1. Am I overreacting to my girlfriend going to her ex's birthday party without telling me? Hey Reddit, I'm 29M, and I've been dating my girlfriend, Lena, 27F, for about 10 months. Things have been great overall. She's funny, smart, independent, and we've talked about maybe moving in together next year. No major issues until this weekend. So here's what happened. On Saturday, Lena told me she was going out with a few friends from college. Cool, no problem. I had plans to watch the game with my brother anyway. But the next day, I saw a photo on one of her friends' Instagram stories. The caption said, "Happy birthday, Jason." I recognized Jason. He's her ex. The one she dated for about 3 years and broke up with about a year before we met. They were pretty serious from what I've gathered. I never made a big deal about it because she told me they're on decent terms, but not really close. So naturally, I asked her later that night, "Hey, were you at Jason's birthday thing?" She looked a little surprised and said, "Yeah," but quickly followed up with, "It wasn't a big deal. It was a group thing, and I didn't think it mattered." I didn't raise my voice or accuse her of anything. I just said I wished she'd mentioned it beforehand. She got kind of defensive and said I was making something out of nothing and that it's not like she was hiding it. But she kind of did hide it. I mean, I don't want to be controlling, and I know people stay friends with their exes, but the fact that she didn't even mention she was going to his birthday rubs me the wrong way. It just feels off. I'm not accusing her of cheating or anything, but I can't shake the feeling that she intentionally kept it vague so I wouldn't ask questions. She said she didn't think I'd care, but the whole thing just makes me feel kind of sidelined. So am I overreacting? Well, to be honest, it's a pretty unpleasant situation because a lot of people really don't realize how their actions can hurt someone. And I totally get that guy. What do you think about it? And while you're writing what you think about it in the comments, we're moving on to story number 2. I bought a house in a community without an HOA. I wanted my home to be my home, and that includes making it look the way that I want. I also chose a neighborhood that already has fun, colorful houses instead of just plain earth tones. I finally got to the point where I could repaint my house. I picked a soft peachy color with sage, blue, and soft and dark pink accents. Fun and colorful without being too out there. I think if you Google colors blue sage peach, you'll see a similar palette. My neighbor Paul fucking hates it and has been complaining since we started the project. He also made his opinion known that he hates our front lawn. Lots of wildflowers and sunflowers, fun garden flags, a little free library, etc. Each and every time I've told him that I don't care. Truly, I don't. And I've suggested a few times that maybe he'd be happier in a HOA community that has control over everything and forces people into having earth-toned homes. Paul got angry when I suggested that and said he's lived in his home for 15 years and shouldn't have to move. I told him, okay, well, you'll have to learn to live with a little colour. Last weekend, I was putting in pavers that my niece and I had painted together. They're all things like ladybugs, turtles, birds, etc. in fun colours. I adore them, and my niece is so excited she gets to be a part of my home. Paul came over to complain yet again, saying it was all an eyesore, and my niece was here. So I just told him, it's time for you to grow up and get the fuck over what I'm doing with my house. He got even pissier and told me that I have no right to talk to him this way. Do I know who I'm talking to, etc.? I told him to just go away and get a fucking life. If he has so much free time to bitch and moan about a colourful house, maybe he should get a hobby. He stormed off, calling me a nasty piece of work. My niece was cracking up on the side. For the record, no one in my family is uptight. We really don't care about cursing. I know some people still clutch their pearls over it around kids. She's 15, but I'm sure she says worse. Anyway, one of the other neighbours came to tell me that he's been flapping his yap about how disrespectful I am to talk to him like that. She told me that she knows he's a pain, but that he has been in the neighbourhood forever and it's worth being nice to him. I don't know. Is telling him to get a life that big of a deal? Am I the you? Okay, I don't even know what to say. I've run into this kind of people myself, the ones who can only criticize others. Guys, if something like this ever happens to you, just remember, never pay attention to someone else's opinion. The whole world might be against you, but you should stand your ground till the end, within reason, of course. Well, let's move on to story number 3. I think my girlfriend has been trying to get me fired from all my jobs. I'm shaken. Please help me. I'm M24, and I've been with GF, F29, let's call her Janice, for 2.5 years. I just finished my education when we started dating, and I've been doing all sorts of jobs since, sometimes 2 at a time. I did this to expand my resume and gather job experience. I worked in cafes, bookstores, a library, a grocery store, and as an English tutor. Most of those jobs lasted about 3 to 5 months. My shortest stay was 2.5 weeks, my longest 8 months. But since I didn't have a hard time applying for new positions, I tried to block it out, though it was kind of eating me up internally. People called to complain about me. People left bad reviews about me. People used my employee Wi-Fi access to look up sketchy things on the internet under my name. Former employees called to inform them about me, right name and all, and much, much more subtle stuff that I couldn't disprove. But I was too anxious to do anything about it. I just told my girlfriend, she comforted me, she supported me every time I got my life ruined by these people. But I kept going, though they kept finding me. Fast forward to this week. I currently hold a part-time position at a bakery. I've been working there for 2.5 months. It's going okay, but my manager approached me about something regarding our Google reviews. Someone was complaining about an employee, and their description of them could only really fit me. It was on a day where we're pretty short of staff, so I could have been the only person in the store on that day for all I know. Anyway, their review contained some pretty elaborate and nasty comments about me. This has happened on 1 or 2 of my jobs already. I told my manager that it was all pretty bogus and that someone had a vendetta against me, as it has happened before. She believed me and told me that she'll dismiss the comment. On my break, I checked out the review myself. Their username was kinda stupid. I'm not going to type it out here since I still work there, but I'll just call them Mick Myrtle, as it was in the same range of sounds kinda fake but not really. Anyway, I come home, but don't tell Janice about it. She has heard it all before, so I didn't see the point in complaining about another time I almost lost my position. We chat, all is well, and she leaves the room. Her phone is on the table, and suddenly she gets a notification or an email of some sort from Google. I don't remember what it said exactly, but the pop-up read something along the lines of, "Mick Myrtle, manager, has responded to your review." My heart dropped. I've been trying to ignore it since. This was 2 days ago. It just fit in the picture of bad reviews. It fit in the picture of the phoned complaints my workplaces have received about me in the past. It fits in the picture of all the sketchy things I've been fired for. Why would she do that, though? I'm looking for an explanation. This literally can't be. She's the only thing keeping me sane. I don't know what to do. Alright, there's some updated info here, so I suggest we listen to it before we start discussing anything. First of all, yes, we broke up. That's why I'll be referring to her as my ex from now on. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. On the Monday of the following week, I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I told my ex I needed her booking account to book a train ticket to visit my dad for a few days. She complied, and when she was in the shower getting ready for work, I booked my ticket and started looking through her emails. After some digging, I found an email to herself which contained a spreadsheet file. I sent the file to myself, printed it out, and took a screenshot. Why? The spreadsheet contained about every single information about me that there was. Numbers, emails, passwords, work times, colleagues, their numbers and social medias, as well as some emails and passwords that she used for accounts to ruin my life with. Everything was on there, conveniently sorted for her to ruin my life as efficiently as possible. When she left for work, I decided it would be best to immediately pack my stuff. Nothing that mattered would be left behind. I felt like a wanted man, like I was being hunted, despite nothing being seemingly out of place. I called my boss, told her I would be taking some time off from work, and headed out to see my dad. Needless to say, he was the sanity I needed. I cried about everything I saw. I panicked for a whole 2 days straight, about how my life was ruined and I didn't know what to do. He had to sleep on the couch in the guest room because I was so scared of my ex coming in. He handled it like a champ. I love you, Dad. He called the police, a lawyer, and most recently a therapist for me because I was in the most horrible state of my entire life. We're currently sorting out the legal stuff. I haven't talked to my ex, except for letting her know it was over and that she's a sick psychopath. My dad handled the rest. I changed all my passwords, and I'm now looking for a place to live. Sorry for the brief update. My mind is tangled.
Honestly, each story is crazier than the last. I'm not trying to justify her. Maybe she just wanted more attention from him since he always came to her to complain. Or maybe she's just not okay and really needs a hospital. Shall we listen to story number 4?
Ayo.
BF made plans on my birthday. My boyfriend, 22M, and I, 21F, have been together for almost 3 years. We are planning on moving in together in the near future, as he lives with his mum and doesn't go to school after dropping out. For context, he only works on Tuesdays and Fridays, so I know he was free to go out on Sunday, which happens to be my birthday. He knows how important special occasions are to me, such as our birthdays and anniversaries. For the first year in our relationship, he was great. He was loving and kind. Last year, we ended up celebrating my birthday late due to the fact that he was tired from work and didn't want to go out, which I let slide. I always try to do the most for his birthdays. I buy him gifts, write him cards, and bake him a cake from scratch. Yesterday afternoon, I texted him, reminding him about the plan later, and this conversation happened. He made plans to go out and party instead of seeing me. He forgot about it even after I had been talking about it all of last week. I spent my 21st birthday alone in my room while he was out, and we haven't texted since. This birthday was particularly special to me because I turned 21. I even bought a new pink dress to wear for him, assuming we were going to dinner. He is suggesting that we go out and celebrate tomorrow instead, like last year, but to me, it doesn't feel the same. He is insisting that I apologise for being ungrateful. Am I overreacting?
It really sucks to realize that not everyone is willing to do for you what you're ready to do for them. I honestly feel really sorry for that girl. I hope you never have to face situations like this in your own life. Anyway, let's move on to story number 5. Sat down on my friend's MacBook and broke it. Offered to pay her the money for it, but now she wants more because she was upgrading anyway. So it's this, or she will sue me in small claims court. I had some of my friends over at my house, and one of my friends invited one of her other friends to come over. She had her MacBook on my couch when I sat on it and broke it. Since it was completely my fault, I offered to pay her the money for it, and she agreed. She got it 3 years ago, and it cost $2,200 at the time. I told her I'd wire you the money in a week to her bank account. She's now emailed me saying that as per our conversation, she's expecting the $2,700 that I have agreed for. I didn't know why she added the extra money, so I got her number from my friend and called her to find her telling me she's now expecting me to pay for her new upgraded MacBook since she was upgrading anyway. She said if I don't agree to do that, she'll be suing me in small claims court. Can a judge agree to that? Should I wire her the $2,200 or should I just tell her, go sue me?
Update. I went through every single comment from the 200 plus ones, and I sincerely thank each and every one of you. I did some research specifically for repairing the screen for the MacBook, and for her particular model, it's around $310 for the screen plus the labour cost. So I wrote her back saying that since she didn't accept my initial offer of $2,200, I'm withdrawing that offer and offering to pay for the repair cost. She sent me an email calling me a bitch and that she's going to take me to court. I got served a few days later and went to court. I told the judge I gave her 3 options to choose from. 1. Either to write her a check for a brand new one, which was $2,200. 2. Get her a refurbished one from Apple or a third party, or even used, which would be around $1,400. Or 3. Fix her current MacBook, since the screen is the only thing affected here, and it would cost around $300 plus money for labour. I printed out the email I sent her, and the mail she sent back refusing, demanding the $2,700 and calling me a bitch and saying we'll go to court. Plus screenshots for the price quotes from different websites for a new/refurbished and the screen fix for her particular model, and gave it to the judge. I also told him that when I offered at the very beginning to get her a new one from the Apple store, she said no, I want the money in cash. When I told her I'd give her $2,200 for a new one, she said okay, but later came asking for $2,700 because she wants to upgrade. I tried to show him how it's clearly visible that she's trying to take advantage of me. She gave the judge an attitude almost the whole time, which really pissed the judge off and helped my case, I guess. After listening to both of us, he ruled that I pay 50% of the repair cost since she negligently left her laptop on the couch. So I'll only be paying not more than $200 to $250 for the whole thing. If it weren't for you guys, I would have paid $2,200 instead of around $200, and I honestly loved her look at the end as we walked out. Honestly, sometimes I'm just shocked by how brazen people can be. And it's good that in this story, everything turned out in the thread author's favour. I can't stand people who you treat kindly, and they take it as weakness and start walking all over you. Let's move on to story number 6.
My day for telling my friend I don't want to end up like her after she told me to lower my standards. I, 22 female, met Rachel, 23 female, 3 years ago in university, and we became friends. For context, I have never dated before, and I'm okay with that. I don't purposefully seek out relationship, and I'm comfortable being by myself. I have a few close friends, and this is enough for me. In contrast, Rachel has had a lot of boyfriends and doesn't like to be single, her words. She met her husband, Max, 2 years ago in one of the uni classes, and they quickly began dating. He isn't the most pleasant guy to be around, IMO, and they had quite a few big arguments during the relationship. He even tried to flirt with me, and I told Rachel about it, but she dismissed it, saying he was probably just trying to butter me up so I help him with homework. He has told some sexist jokes in the past too. Whenever they fought, I always told Rachel she deserves better and to break up with him, but in the end, they always made up. He proposed to her after 1 year, and they got married 4 months ago. However, after they moved in together, in the flat that Rachel's parents pay the rent for, Max became even worse. He never helps out with cleaning or cooking, doesn't really take Rachel out on dates anymore, and whenever she tries to talk to him about it, Max tells her to stop complaining about wife's duties. So, a few days ago, Rachel asked me if I would like to go on a date with one of her friends from high school who is single and is looking for a relationship. I've never been on a date before, so I agreed out of curiosity. We went to a nice restaurant. The guy never asked me a single question about myself back, and after I got tired of coming up with questions about him, we just sat the rest of the meal in awkward silence. We split the bill, and after he walked me to the subway station, he tried to kiss me. I declined as politely as I could and went home. The next day, I met up with Rachel. Apparently, she's already heard about how the date went from her friend. She asked me why I rejected him. I told her the reasons I mentioned before and that I didn't really like the guy. Then she rolled her eyes and said that I need to lower my standards because I'm honestly not that attractive, that I blew maybe my only chance to date, and if I continue like that, I'll end up forever alone. even though she knows I'm fine without a relationship. Also, I'm not insecure about my appearance, but hearing my friends say that about me hurt. I got angry and said, better to be forever alone than end up like you, with a husband that doesn't respect me. She started crying and said that I'm being rude when she's just trying to look out for me, and then left. We haven't texted or spoken since. Honestly, I'm not sure if I want to salvage this friendship after finding out this is how Rachel felt about me all this time. However, I feel guilty for saying this to her when I knew it was a sore spot, and also for kind of blaming her for the fact that her husband is awful. So, AITA in this situation.
I don't really want to take sides here, because he did respond to her pretty harshly. But forcing your own views on someone isn't very ethical either. So I think ending the communication would have been the best choice. That way, they wouldn't hurt each other any further. Well then, let's listen to the last story for today, story number 7. My best guy friend just told me he's in love with me, 2 days before my wedding. I've been with my fiancée for 3 years, engaged for a little over a year. My best friend and I have known each other since freshman year of college. We're all in our early 30s. This morning, I woke up to a long-ass text from my guy best friend that he had sent around 6 a.m. Basically, it was him pouring his heart out. He said he's been in love with me for years, but always hoped I'd end up breaking up with my fiancée and finally noticing him. He asked me to call off the wedding and run away with him. It said, I needed to tell you before it was too late. My best guy friend just told me he's in love with me, 2 days before my wedding. I've been with my fiancée for 3 years, engaged for a little over a year. My best friend and I have known each other since freshman year of college. We're all in our early 30s. This morning, I woke up to a long-ass text from my guy best friend that he had sent around 6 a.m. Basically, it was him pouring his heart out. He said he's been in love with me for years, but always hoped I'd end up breaking up with my fiancée and finally noticing him. He asked me to call off the wedding and run away with him. It said, I needed to tell you before it was too late. I just feel gross and sad. I have no feelings for him beyond platonic love. I've drafted a response and deleted it over and over. I haven't even told my fiancé. I don't want him to have to worry about me so soon to our wedding. I know I need to, but I don't know what to do or how to phrase it. What's worse is that he's become my fiancé's friend too. I'm also pretty pissed that my friend chose such an unfortunate time to cause me such distress. There were so many times over the years he could have just bucked up and told me how he felt. But waiting until right before I'm married? Like I would just cancel my wedding and leave my fiancé because of a goddamn text. I want to tell him to not come to the wedding. I can't trust that he wouldn't try to pull something. I don't even know if I want to talk to him again. But the thought of losing my best friend is heartbreaking. Hell, the thought of not having him at my wedding is really painful. He's put me in an uncomfortable, impossible situation. I wish it wasn't on me to deal with his feelings for him. I wish he had either stopped being friends with me when he realised us ending up together would never happen, or had told me a while ago. I don't want to kick him while he's down, but I need to make it clear that I have no feelings, the wedding is still on, and I don't want him to attend. We have been friends for over a decade. I've been crying over this all day. I feel almost disgusted, knowing that this whole time he had ulterior motives. How do I even go about dealing with this? I'm supposed to get married in under 48 hours. Edit. I'll be showing the text to my fiancé after he gets home from his brother's. I won't send anything until he's here with me. Update. My husband, I love being able to say that now, and I got back from our honeymoon yesterday. I turned on my phone and opened the Reddit app and it was still signed into this account. So I had an, oh yeah, moment and figured I'd post an update. So a lot of people here really helped validate the icky mess of feelings I was having. Thank you for that. Posting here really helped put my thoughts into words. So that night, my fiancé got home from his brother's. I let him sit down, and then I showed him the text. He read it, and I watched his eyes get bigger and expression angrier. Of course, I started apologizing like an idiot, and he told me I didn't owe him an apology for anything. We talked, and he told me he figured the guy had a crush, but kept it respectful. And really, he had. We were close, but beyond a side hug during greetings and goodbyes, there was no physicality. I even let him read out past messages, just to see that there was no emotional affair or me leading him on. I never even vented about my fiancé when we would have arguments, because I knew better than to do that. I'd talk to my mom, lol. So my fiancé asked me what I wanted to do, and I said that while it did sadden me, I didn't want him at our wedding. I was afraid that he would try some nonsense. We typed up a very brief message. It said, "Friend, I'm sorry that you mistook my friendship for something more. The wedding is going to happen, and it'd be best if you didn't attend." To be clear, I let fiancé read this message, and he stands by my decision to uninvite you. We wanted to make it clear that it was me who wanted him to not come, not just my fiancé. Knowing him, he'd probably claim that fiancé forced me to uninvite him. He read the message and left it on read for a while. I honestly started getting pretty anxious over it, and fiancé asked if I wanted to block him. Part of me wanted to, and part of me wanted to hear him out. And when he finally responded, the text was so long that I had to click on it to read it. It was horrible. He called me a liar for leading him on for over a decade, that he hoped my fiancé left me, and that we were infertile. It was just horrible thing after horrible thing, and I started crying. Fiancé took my phone into the other room while I sobbed. I think he called him, but I'm not sure. What I do know is after about an hour, he came back in, handed me my phone back, and told me that friend was now blocked on everything, would not be attending, and the best man and my maid of honor knew of the situation and would handle it for me. It was like a weight lifted off of my shoulders, honestly. After reading that message, I really wasn't so sad that friend wouldn't be attending anymore. And our wedding fucking rocked. We had the time of our lives, surrounded by people who loved us, and we loved them. It still feels like a dream, to be honest. And if friend tried to show up, I never heard anything of it. I guess that's the update. It's not nearly as dramatic and crazy as what people hoped for, I feel like, but I'm happy.
Finally, we can congratulate ourselves. This is the only story so far with a happy ending. I somehow knew I should save it for last. I'm really happy for the girl and for her now husband. I hope everything turns out just as well for you too. And that's it for today. Talk to you later.